Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Serenity Resource Connector. Whether you're joining us live or you're watching the replay, it is a pleasure to have you here. I am Winsome, and joining us on this episode of the Serenity Resource Connector to share consumer protection tips, insights, resources, and more is who I refer to as the Consumer and Business Empowerment Ambassador in the person of Richard G. Rowe of the Consumer Affairs Commission. Let's bring Mr. Rowe on. Sir Rowe, welcome to the Serenity Resource Connector.
Thank you very much. It is my pleasure to be on with you, Madam Wito.
Awesome. All right, so to set the stage for our conversation, let's play this video about the Consumer Affairs Commission because there are so many people who are not sure who the Consumer Affairs Commission is, who does what. So let's share some insight before we get the conversation rolling.
Okay.
Right.
The Consumer Affairs Commission, CAC, is an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce responsible for consumer protection, collection and analysis of data retrade, and complaints investigation and resolutions under the provisions of the Consumer Protection Act. The CAC's education program informs consumers about their rights and responsibilities and the steps to take to obtain redress. Hence our tagline, protecting your rights, securing our future. Protecting the consumer in a digital age requires access to information on demand. In response, the CAC's live online product is available on the third Wednesday of each month and is aimed at interacting with consumers via Zoom, Facebook, and Twitter. The CAC education program also informs businesses about the Consumer Protection Act and their responsibilities in all the traditional media, online, and via the CAC mobile app. Our complaints resolution service seeks to secure redress on behalf of aggrieved consumers. Where the process of negotiation has been exhausted, the consumer has a right to file a claim before the Consumer Protection Tribunal. Market surveillance and survey results published both digitally and in print include grocery outlets, petrol stations, hardware stores, book and computer stores, pharmacies, banks, approved accredited private labs, and medical facilities for COVID-19 testing. As a member of Consumer International, a global movement of over 200 members, the CAC joins over 100 countries on March 15 each year to mark World Consumer Rights Day, when we highlight the impact of local and global issues on the consumer, as well as promote the rights of consumers. If you feel your rights have been breached, you may file a complaint in any of the following ways. Visit www.cac.gov.jm. Email details to info@cac.gov.jm. CAC mobile app for survey results and other consumer news.
All right. Quite a condensed version because I know that the Consumer Affairs does so much more than that. But let's get the conversation going. All right, so we are talking today about consumer protection inline and online because that's the space that we're in now in terms of the whole shopping.
Yes.
So share with us some tips, or you want to give us some background and then they get into sharing the tips for shopping inline and online.
Well, first of all, if I should talk about, let's talk about online. And one of the main reasons I want to start there is that with COVID, we have seen a migration of shoppers that have moved from going to the stores physically and going online to do our shopping. Now, the truth is that there are serious issues that confront our online shoppers. And so I want to share some of these tips that will help them to shop during the Christmas holiday season. Um, the first one I want to suggest is for us to look at trustworthy online retailers. It is important that especially card holders shop on familiar and reputable websites that they know to be reliable. Yeah.
Right.
In addition, to avoid the occurrences of fraud, and then you know you need to only provide your card numbers on secure websites. And these, I mean, secure means that a lot of them usually carries a what looks like a padlock, yeah, on
Right.
it. Um, the HTTPS URL, all this information is right there, so you see the padlock, and the address bar, the web page also indicates that the site uses security features. Yeah,
Right.
and when shopping online, though, you if you're using the third party digital wallets like PayPal's, Google Play, and Apple Play, and so on, it's important that we understand that there are additional layers of securities that deals with those. You know, by using a third party digital wallet um, to make your purchases, the card holder avoids providing the online retailer, the merchant, with their credit card number, right? So
Right.
these third party digital wallets act as an intermediary, yeah, between the cardholder and the online retailer,
Right.
which is especially useful when the cardholder wants to make a purchase from a new or unfamiliar merchant. Yeah,
Indeed.
so it's important that we understand that aspect of using the third party, what we call third party digital wallet. Yeah, and log into their account. Now, do not click on suspicious links. Um, especially in your SMS messaging, and even in your emails that claims to be, from your credit card issuing, you know, with, there's a lot of scamming and phishing attacks that are going on online. And if you're not careful, you might lure yourself into an occasion where people are getting your information and using it to 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 clean out or to run up your credit card bill, as the case may be. And so it's important that the SMS messages that we get, that we don't just click on links in there. You can, after seeing the link, if you're not sure if this is a good link to use, then you can put it, copy the link and paste it in your, on your computer, and then see exactly where it's gonna take you,
That's right.
even before you move at it. So, don't just click. You know, um,
Before you move on, Saro, there are
yes,
a number of those messages going around, especially in WhatsApp groups, and they get passed around so rapidly about these local entities who are offering these gifts, and even some international entities who are offering iPhones and those very shiny looking goodies.
some deals
Right.
that seems to be too good to be true,
Too good to be true. If it's
and
too, they say if it's too good to be true, it's probably not true, right?
absolutely, man. So really, you're gonna have to protect yourself, and one best way of protecting yourself is not to share your information with anybody. And I can tell you that even using public Wi-Fi's, yes, and
Yes.
public devices can really let you go public.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so we have to be very, very careful. Um, spyware, sorry, can be installed on public computers, and websites, and really store your login information, yeah, and allowing them to access your credit card information, your usernames, your passwords, and other personal information. And so it's very, very important. And even while you're using your card and maybe when you're entering your PIN, be careful of eyes, people and where cameras are. So
Right.
you look around to see where cameras are located. You ensure that you cover that area so that nobody can take your information because they'll use it, to their benefit. Ensure that no eyes are connecting with your PIN, where you're putting the PIN information. Yeah. Um, as much as it is possible, because people will hack in and people are looking on opportunities. Even your password. You know, ensure that your password is not too easy for anyone to identify with. So I'm Richard Rowe. Well, how would it benefit me to use as my password uh, Rowe Richard,
It's an
for
easy one.
argument's sake, because the truth is someone is thinking that I might be using that, and so it's very easy for them to hack into your system by just getting your password right, or thinking that this might be your password and using it. So include in your password certain kinds of you know digits, uh,
Special characters.
special characters that persons wouldn't even imagine that you would have associated that with your password. Those kinds of things. But then guess what? You must make sure you can remember.
That's that's it.
You make sure you can remember what it is, because the truth is, if you don't remember, you're gonna be in trouble as well. So ensure that you remember. I know that persons have been using their phone numbers a lot for to as part of this process where you use your phone number to get back your password, for example. I do not really recommend that, why? Because sometimes if your phone is damaged and you're having problems, then you cannot go to your phone uh, for the solution. Yeah.
Right.
So one of the things that I know is always there is your email, right? Your email.
Yes.
If your email address is one that has been hacked into before, believe you me, it makes sense to discontinue using that email address and
Right.
establish a new one, because the hacker is also looking for the opportunity to come back and to get that information ahead of you. Yeah.
Indeed.
So by the
Right.
time, so if it is hacked into, if you have any reasons at all to doubt your email address as one that is you alone using, then it makes sense to to stop using that one and create another one. You know, some persons choose even email addresses that are just out of this world. It's not necessary, really. Try and see if the email address can be associated with you as an
Right.
individual. You know, so that's important as well. Now, for those merchants though, um, who are in the business of the use of cards, um, we suggest that you pay keen attention to the privacy of your customers and ensure that your staff members are trained to to respect the privacy of your customers and understand that when they would have come to you with the card machine, that you're not paying too much attention with the transaction and looking while the person is entering their PIN and so on, because those kinds of things can be really annoying. Yeah, and
Right.
and so you for customer service, for the purpose of customer service delivery, you try to avoid making your customer feeling uncomfortable while they are there and shopping and using your
Right.
card. Yeah, so
That's
that's also.
right. Another thing for that too is
Mhm.
that there are some employees who don't think twice about taking the card to another location outside of the site of the consumer.
Ah, I was just
That's
about to go there
go ahead.
because your card must be within your eyesight. It cannot be that you allow them to go away and then come back to you. No. Uh, if it is that they are going for the machine, they go for the machine and return.
That's
Uh,
it.
and if they are heading in a direction where the machine is, then you should be going there and then producing your card when you have gotten there. Uh, when in a setting too, because just yesterday I went on a gas pump and there was a dispute on the pump. And you know what the dispute was about? There was a gentleman there who was not in uniform, right? Other persons were there in uniform, but he was not in uniform. And apparently he was helping to direct traffic. Yeah?
Right.
And he was the one on this occasion who assisted a customer. And the customer was about to drive off from the pump and realized that his knee never moved one iota. And, and you know what happened? When he brought this to the management of the company, the young man in question is not a staff member of theirs or anything,
Wow.
but he had taken the man's money, claimed to have put the gas
Okay.
in his car. Yeah?
Yes.
So that was a dispute right there on the pump.
That's an interesting one.
I tell you. And well, I didn't have to get involved because the supervisor was quick to
Great.
negotiate the problem. What she did was to address the customer first, and that I
Yes.
thought that was so important. You know, I like when I see
Yes.
customer service done like that because she was not attacking, dealing with the person who was on the pump and who was selling this man. With the customer first, and she apologized to him. She gave him the $1,500 gas that he needed. Yeah. And it
Right.
was after she gave him the gas, although he stayed, she addressed the other gentleman now,
Yeah.
who apparently they know him, but in terms of, he does not represent them at all. Yeah. Just
Indeed.
someone who comes by and sometimes he does things for, a little change and so on. But
Yes.
that kind of situation, it could have gotten so much worse.
It could
But I
have.
was happy for the way the supervisor handled the matter.
Yes.
And as a
And
result of that,
yeah.
the gentleman was driving out of there with his $1,500 gas and was feeling much more satisfied with the intervention.
Yes. I know that you're a staunch customer experience advocate as well. So
Absolutely.
I
And so
know.
I look out for these and sometimes I
Yeah.
will intervene if I think, the matter might be going the wrong direction. But I was very happy. I was very impressed with the way
Yes.
that supervisor handled that matter. So I didn't have to intervene at all. Yes.
Great.
Right. Yes.
All right.
Right. So the strong password made with a combination of numbers, special characters or symbols, and lower and uppercase letters. Yeah? All of those. But you must remember what they are and ensure that you have them in the correct order, etc., etc. or you're going to be shut out of your own system.
Or, or like me, you request a password change ever so
Every
often.
time I tell you, yes.
There's so many of them because it's not advisable to use the same password for different
Exactly.
logins either. So, right,
Right.
you have to find another secure way to safeguard them or just go ahead and change it.
Yes, yes, yes,
Right.
yes. And with credit cards, I mean, make sure you get your credit card statement and check,
Oh, yes.
constantly check to ensure. I like what they are doing now with the credit cards because after you would have done anything at all, you get an
The
email,
alert.
you get a text message, all of
Right.
these things just saying, asking you to confirm if it's you. If it's not you, there's a step that you need to take to recover whatever it is, that kind of thing. So yes, so you make sure that all the things on your bank statement, your credit card statement are in fact your authorized payments. Yeah, so it's
Right.
very, very important, yes, with the use of credit cards, yes.
And but your general bank statement, because sometimes you do a debit card transaction, you get that alert to say the transaction didn't go through,
Hmm.
but when you check your account the funds are not there.
Oh,
So,
yes.
and if it's even a dollar, it makes a difference.
Right, right, right. It does, I tell you. So you will have to um, use use your credit card wisely, yes. And when you check your statement, just ensure that you're within your limits. Yes.
Right.
um, and there is in fact a cost that is associated with cash withdrawals with the use of your credit card. Yeah, that there are some
Yes.
costs that are associated with that, and so make sure you check everything before you use that card to withdraw cash. Okay.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yes. So let's move on over to now spotting those red flags in these holiday deals because there are so many deals. Deal or no
Yes.
deal. How do we identify them?
First of all, look around for signs in the stores or outside the store that are sending the signal that they are not going to be dealing with you after you return. If you, I mean, so some some retailers, some stores will talk about no refund, no exchange, or they will say to you, no exchange after 5 days, or no
Yes.
return after 5 days, whatever the situations are. So when you see these signs, usually you need to probe a bit more because sometimes there are hidden information that are not necessarily shared with you upfront. And so once you see these signs, ensure that what it says is what it means. Because
Yes.
sometimes I find that some retailers put up a sign, and when you ask them to explain what it means, you get a totally different explanation from what the sign is actually saying. All right. So that's one of the flags. You see these signs and you must read them. You check to see what these signs are saying. Check in with the store to find out what their policies on return are. And and if you're satisfied with what you're hearing and what you're seeing as the sign, then you proceed with your spending. But you don't ask that question after. You need to ask it upfront. So many of us, we tender the money and then we ask the questions afterwards. I know that because you have left the store, then the store is under some degree of obligation. But once you make the purchase, remember, as a consumer, you don't have much of a right anymore. So make sure you know what you're doing ahead of making the purchase. Yeah?
Right.
It's very, very important. Now, uh, in terms of red flags too, because one of the things that some persons do is use what they what the box is saying as part of your reason why this is so. Sometimes what the box might have on it is what is called a model number.
Right.
And I had an experience very recently where the box says IMP dash 23 FZ something something something. Now, when I saw that, it kind of, if you're buying a 23 cubic foot freezer, you might feel that the 23 there represents 23 cubic foot. But the truth is, it is far from the truth. It
Mm.
it has no bearing whatsoever with 23 cubic foot. Unless it says 23 cubic foot, then as far as I'm concerned, that's not communicating 23 cubic foot to me. So make sure that when you read the box or the labeling, that it is saying exactly what your receipt is saying. And these are days when people are purchasing things and they are not paying enough attention to details because your receipt is saying 23 cubic foot. The box does not say anything about cubic foot. What it says is 23, whatever, whatever. And
Right.
the FZ refers to freezer, by the way. It
Oh
refers to
Lord.
freezer. So you are thinking that you would have gotten a 23 cubic foot. The gentleman in question who made this purchase and then made the gruesome discovery bought this 23 cubic foot item, which turned out to be a 14.8
Wow.
cubic foot item. See the disparity?
Fast.
So we have to be very careful. And by the way, the manual said the same thing, the IMP 23 FZ, whatever, right?
Right.
And the store was trying to convince the gentleman that the manual was saying 23 cubic foot. And not Nagosa.
Oh.
So as consumers, I know a lot of pressure is being brought on us to be doing all of these checks, to be reading all of these things, and to just ensuring that we are not, you know, being taken for a joyride,
Right.
you know. Um, so it's important for us to read, important for us to make the necessary observations and ensure that we get what we want. Um, I see a call coming in,
Yes.
but I can't take that one. All
Yes.
right.
Yes. Especially for those last minute shopping.
Yes, yes. I'd say to persons though, and if I should share some tips, yeah, when you're shopping, um, make a budget, huh? I know we're bright and we have everything in our head, but the truth be told, our heads are not so organized, and sometimes we forget when
Indeed.
we're passing and we're seeing the bling blings and we're seeing the other things that are not on the list. We are not, so what's the word? We're really not disciplined enough to stay connected with, just what we need. And so as the consumer, I suggest that we write it down, man. Make a list. And if you want to expand the list, fine. But make that list and ensure that this is the list of the things that I really need, not just want. Because we want
Yes.
so many things, but the needs are usually are more. credible list. So make sure you make a list, yeah. Make a budget, yeah, of what it the, the likely cost and so on, and so you know exactly how much you should be spending. But check around for the best prices and avoid impulse buying. And the impulse buying is referring now to your just buying. It's not on the list, but I'll just buy it anyway. Avoid that, because what
Yes.
will happen to you is that at the end of the day, you'll see a lot more of what you want than
That's
what
what
you
we
really
need.
need. And then guess what? The money done.
That's it.
Clean,
Everything.
clean. It's done.
Yes.
You
Every,
have no more unless you go and borrow or something else. Yeah.
yeah.
Read all labels, folks, and read manuals carefully, especially if you're going to put something together. Connect, pull it all together. Read the manuals carefully and ensure that you're not using anything that you're not supposed to be using on the item. Because some of us don't read anything, and then we use alcohol, and then alcohol damage and do all kinds of things to the item. And then you go back to the store and tell them, say, a same way so you didn't get it. Right? Because there are ways to determine whether there is contributory negligence on the part of the consumer, where you also cause a problem to the item. Yeah.
Right.
So read labels, use the manuals, test all appliances, folks, in the store, if possible. Test them. Make sure that they work before you part with your monies. Yeah. Um, get a written warranty, folks, for all appliances, and written, even if it's written on the receipt, to say 1 year warranty, 6 months warranty, whatever the case may be. You need to ensure that you get written warranties. Don't allow persons to be talking to you about warranties. Ask
That's
them
it.
to write it down. Not you write it down, you allowed them to write it down, because at the end of the day they're gonna say, but now you're handwriting that, and never mind, that's not my store thing. Right? So
That's it.
you get them to write it down. Yeah. If installation is required, we suggest that you allow them to do the
Yes.
installation, because what will happen is that if there's a problem with the item, they are going to be looking to say that, oh, it's because of poor installation. Something went wrong with the way it is installed, and therefore, it's your problem. Yeah. Or if it requires a certified electrician and the store does not offer installation services, ensure that whoever is installing the item is in fact a certified electrician. Because the truth be told, if they are not certified and anything goes wrong in that process, you will have nothing to claim for. Right? Yeah. Ensure you get a proper receipt. You know, the receipt needs to say everything that you have purchased. Yeah. It needs to have how much you have paid, and if you're supposed to get change, it needs to reflect that too. That but importantly is how much you have paid for the items. It needs to spell it out what these items are. Very often we go to some stores and all we see some numbers and then a total, and that's not a proper receipt, because on that receipt you don't have the name of the store, you don't have the location of the store, you don't have any contact for the store, and then you don't have the items properly listed. So you could have bought just about anything. They'll say to you, but we have six other items for $2,500. So what are you saying? You know?
Indeed.
Yeah. So, boy, it's so many things, my dear Witter. There are so many things. So
Right.
if it is, let's say, if it is a refrigerator, and the refrigerator is stainless steel, for example, make sure it is written. So at the end of the day, if you have stainless steel written on your thing, your receipt, and then they deliver something, that has nothing to do with stainless
Stainless
steel.
steel.
Then
Yes.
you have reason now for uh, for to come back to them and say, well, sorry, you know. But if it is not written on the receipt, you don't really stand a chance because they'll tell you, oh, but it's not written here. So you really don't have much of a case. And ensure too that the brand is written. So if it cannot be just a 23 cubic foot freezer, the brand is also important because sometimes they switch brands and then what is
Yes.
delivered to you is not what you wanted. Yeah.
That's
But
it.
where is the evidence that you bought Samsung but was delivered Black Point, for example? You know, those kinds of things, and make sure even if it's a color and there's a size that it's written so there's no ambiguity, no problem when you get the wrong item. You can deal with it from from the store,
Yes.
that kind of thing. Ask about the store policy. We talked about that earlier, you know that it is important that we do that. Yes, and getting everything in writing. You know, review contracts thoroughly, hmm, before signing, not after you sign.
Yes.
Yes,
Those
and
small prints.
yes, and ensuring that the contractual terms are fully understood. And this is before you part with your money. Yeah. Um, uh, Oh boy. So very often we give the money first and then we read after. Um, let's not do that. Let's do it the other way around. Make sure you
Right.
read. And some of us are so impatient. You just ask questions like, "When we decide, just show me, just show me where we decide." But it's important that we read ahead and check it out. So these will give you ample information. Make sure um, you know for some items, if you can read up on the items ahead of going to the store, then do all your readings and so on. So when you get to the store, you know exactly which one you want and so on. It saves time and all of those things. And also it allows you to be very specific with your needs and ensuring that your needs are being addressed, you know, that kind of a
Yes.
thing. So yes, those are some of the things. You know, I suggest that consumers try to build relationships with the the stores that they shop with on a regular basis, so that if there's a problem, yeah, and you have to return, that when you return, you're not expecting too much, of a resistance, because they would have known you, they know
Yes.
that you're a credible character, so to speak, and so on. So they will treat with you a little different from someone that is just, passing through today and not sure if they'll ever see you again, kind of a thing. So make sure you build those relationships, and those relationships will help you in resolving any issues. Because truth be told, is we don't have a 100% um, in anything that we do. I mean, the truth is, you will always see something that is falling off. Um, you
Right.
know, so we're not 100% perfect. Um, the things are being made by men, and even if it's by machines, there has to be a checks and balancing, and sometimes some things will slip through the crack. The truth is that when that happens, we should be in a position as a consumer to properly negotiate. Yeah. And so if you follow these tips, then it will put you in a better place to negotiate.
Indeed. And the consumer affairs have some tools that can help with some of these things. We saw some of them outlined in the video earlier, but especially the that comparison, the price comparison tool. I think that is really awesome.
Can I tell you, um, consumers everywhere, there are persons who are saying thanks to us for sharing the information. And by the way, our app, our app can be downloaded. I mean, on your phone, on your computers, and
Mhm.
the app gives all of that kind of detail. We update it on a monthly basis where once we do the survey, we give that information so you can know which stores are selling the things, like supermarkets, for example, are selling the things at a reasonable price, and those that are selling the things at the very high end, so you'll see it in red, the high end prices, and then you see the lower prices in green. Follow the green, I suggest. And when you would have seen the green,
Oh,
then look at that store. See how close it is in proximity to where you are, and see if you will change your attitude. You start shopping there for those types of items. But remember, it's not all the items in that store will be in green. Right? Some will be in red, if you
indeed.
know, and so
Yes.
you need to look and check before, shop around for the best prices, and so that's for the stores. We also do petrol surveys. So if you purchase gas, I am one of those I'm a stickler. I go certain places only for my gas, and if I have to travel out of town, I try to ensure the night before I top up and get my gas going. So so I will run out while I'm on the road,
They're out
and then I have to stop at a certain gas station that has the price of
in red.
$230 when I could have gotten it for 195. You see the disparity?
Yes.
And
Yes.
that is per liter. Hello? That's
Indeed.
per liter. So the app allows us to select those areas, those stores, those merchants that are doing business a particular way, lowering the prices and ensuring that it suits your own personal needs, and so you can shop there, that kind of, you can stop there, that kind of a thing. But we do also sanitation surveys, because with
Okay.
um, with COVID
COVID.
came
Yes.
that issue with these items that were just going sky high, and you wonder what was going on. And by the time we start doing the survey, everything come back down to none.
No one wants to be in the red.
Exactly. So persons might be saying, but how does this benefit me as a consumer? But it does, because the
Just to
persons
put it
who had
in.
it in the red last week now have it in
Yes.
the green this week. And so
Yes.
it puts a little bit of pressure on the part of the merchants to get them to be selling the items at a more competitive
Competitive.
price, you
Right.
know. And so that's a win. That's a win for consumers. That's a win
Yay
for
to the consumer
consumers.
affairs. Yes, and there was this big thing about the where do I find approved areas for the COVID-19 tests. You went through all of that and the
Look here,
prices, the
man.
locations, everything are
Yes, yes,
laid
man.
out.
Absolutely. And we had to do that because once we hear the consumers squealing, and there's the potential of price gouging, then we try to step in and quell the issues, and hence, this kind of survey. I am
Right,
really very happy, and the Consumer Affairs Commission has a cadre of survey officers who are excellent. They go and they observe the different things, and based on their observations, they bring back the information to us. And then we say, okay, well, since we are heading in this direction, perhaps we could do this instead of that, and so on. So These kinds of things help. And
Yes.
so even with our instrument, recently we've had to update our instrument because we noticed that there was a particular brand that was no longer available, but it was on our instrument for months.
Yes.
And we noticed that they have replaced it with another brand. But we didn't realize, we just realized that every day we're not seeing this brand, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But then we saw the another brand, and then when we checked out, we realized that it has
It
been
was
that is a replacement. So
all
we were able to
okay.
now properly put that brand on and delete the other one, that kind of a thing. So we try to make the information very current and
Yes.
helpful to our consumers, you know,
Yes.
um, helpful to our consumers. So we're doing all we
Oh
can.
yes, because I saw agricultural produce and I'm like,
You
what?
better believe it. Even agricultural produce are among those items, and consumers are happy too for that kind of information. You know, they
Yes.
are happy for this kind of information. So the Consumer Affairs Commission has been doing well. Um, you know, we try as much as possible to do all we can to help the
Yes.
consumers to benefit from the things that we do. So these surveys are of utmost importance. And we just wish more consumers would use these tools to their benefit, you know. So we're promoting the app and we're saying
Yes.
use the app. It's not enough to just download it on your phone. Use it because if you have a GPS, for example, when you put that your GPS in and you start to locate where the lower prices are, it will tell you where to go. Yeah, the app will tell you exactly where to go, um, and guide you accordingly. So
I'm really,
using that
really impressed.
to your benefit, yes,
Really
yes,
impressed.
yes,
And
yes.
not only that, you have a kiddies link.
Hmm.
So not just about the adults, you're catering
Hmm.
for the kids. Tell us a little
Hmm.
more about the kiddies link.
Yes, the truth is, children are consumers too. In
Oh
fact,
yes.
they do consume a lot,
And great influencers
and
too.
they are because they will be pulling on mommy's dress
Yeah.
and daddy's pants and saying, this one instead of that one.
Yes.
They help to guide those things too. So it's important. Children are our future, and
Yes.
therefore, as a commission, we value them too, and recognizing that they they spend money too. We had to actually include them in what we do. So children, yes, we have to include you as well. We say to children though, don't necessarily be the one to go to make a complaint. Um, More often than not, they might not respond to you very well. So ensure, especially if you're, let's say, less than 15 years old, we say ensure that you try and get your parents to be your guardian, to be the ones to interface, especially if it's an item that, a priceable item.
Right.
Try and get the adult to intervene and to deal with that matter. Don't, as the child, don't go to try to resolve it yourself. Try and get an adult to be involved. And it's not that they're gonna disrespect you or anything, but I just think it's important that the kind of language that is used, the way they will treat with an adult is a little different from how they will treat with a child. And so it's important if the item is a priceable item, especially, then allow the adult to be the ones to interface with the store. And trust me, That
Yes.
way, you will get through much better and much faster.
Yes. And another interesting observation that I came across,
Hmm.
meal preparation.
Ha
How
ha.
did the consumer affairs get there?
Because the demands, you see, um, consumers sometimes demand certain things, and once we recognize that we can provide it to the consumer, we provide it. So I must give credit though to Miss Campbell. Um, Miss Campbell is an advocate from the National Consumers League,
Okay.
who Joyce Campbell, who from way back when recognized the need for consumers to understand how to get a good meal out of a small budget, yeah.
Yes.
And so she was one of those who advocated for such a book, and she was instrumental in providing some of the information that is in that book, that is available today. And so we give the credit to her, and then to the other sources that provided the information, the nutritional facts, and so on. We are so happy that we were able to get a book, Eating Right When Money Tight. You know, uh,
Yes.
I mean, when persons hear that title, they always get very interested.
Yeah.
So this Eating Right When Money Tight is a very important book that gives details on the different ingredients that goes into making these meals on this tight budget that you have. And then it's looking at households of 3 4 persons, that kind of a thing, and helps to just make that meal and make it exciting too, and so on. So yes, Eating Right When Money Tight is also out there for the consumers to benefit
Okay.
from, and
And where
especially
can they?
during a time like now
Yes.
when monies are scarce, we have to rock back
Indeed.
on that book to help to guide us that we can survive on a budget. Yeah.
Right. Where can the viewers pick up copies of that book?
All right. Well, the truth is we have not been printing them as much anymore, and but they are available online. Um, in fact, I have it right here.
Okay. All right. Just look for the CAC, that scale.
Oh yes, yes.
Yes.
Eating Right When Money Tight, and it gives all the details. Very colorful too. Very colorful. Gives all the details, the different ingredients, and so on. And
Okay.
sometimes, well, not much of the calories, but the truth is they are not um, very good. Oats porridge, honey corn porridge, all of these things, um, all there. Sandwiches, breakfast items, and so on. Even how to make things like cornbread, your own cornbread. I
All
mean,
right.
can you ever imagine?
Oh, okay.
It's
Great.
a beautiful book,
Yes. There's
available at the Consumer Affairs Commission.
yes. There's a link on the website. Does it give you
Yes.
the full book or maybe just some recipes?
No, the full book is there.
The full book. All right.
Yes,
So
the full
the
book is there.
website is on screen, https colon forward slash
cac.gov.jm.
www.cac.gov.jm. Yes.
Yeah,
So you can go on and download your copy
absolutely.
so you can see, and most of this information that we have been talking about sharing, it's there, but we just want to whet your appetite so you and point in the direction where you can get additional information, because an
Yes.
informed consumer is an empowered consumer. And as Soro said, in these times when money tight, we gotta get back to those those meal preparation and the budgeting. But I understand now, even as we share Soro, that you're not going outside of your scope. What the consumer affairs has actually done is to go deeper, because all
Yes.
of these things are intertwined. Because if you can help the consumers to see how they can, where they can go to get lower prices,
Hmm.
how they can do their budgeting, how they can utilize these different ingredients that they're buying to make meal preparation for a certain size family,
Yes.
you're empowering. It's further
Hmm.
empowering. And
Absolutely.
another area in which way in which you empower consumers is through your community outreach. Tell the viewers how they can, the community groups, schools, churches, how they can
Listen,
engage you to come in and have a group session.
folks, the Consumer Affairs Commission, we are available to provide you with all the information that you need, especially as it regards to your rights as the consumer, about your responsibilities, about how the Consumer Affairs Commission can help you, what are the ways you can seek redress. And redress is not to take off your clothes and dress up again. Redress refers to the three R's that you get when you try to resolve an issue. You purchase an item, the item doesn't work, they will try to repair it. That's the first R. If the repair doesn't work, they should replace it. That's the second R. And if none of those two R's are available, if they cannot repair it, if they cannot replace it, then guess what? The
Fun.
refund is a must. Once it is determined that you had nothing to do with whether or not this item works, yeah, you are entitled to a full refund. And also, folks, our Consumer Protection Act, it's right here. The Consumer Protection Act of 2005 that was revised, yeah, amended in
2012.
2012, yeah. Remember, folks, we have this act and we use it. This is my Bible. Yes, we use it. It talks about the responsibilities of the merchants as well as the responsibilities of the consumer and what happens when you breach the acts. Yeah, when because this is an act that is a combination of different acts coming together. Yeah, different acts coming together for the consumer protection. And believe me, folks, this is how we do our work. So once a complaint comes in, we check to see which of the act, which section of the act is being breached. We bring that information to the merchant's attention, and based on their response, we will proceed. Now, if you are unable to to settle the matter, and we are sure that it's in breach of this act, then we will take it to the next step. Of course, with the consumer as the guide, because if the consumer say I don't intend to carry it any further, then who are we to take it any further? But once you feel dissatisfied and want to take the matter further, then we go to the tribunal, the Consumer Protection Tribunal. And at the tribunal, whatever the ruling is, it's just like court, yeah? The judicial system, where the ruling is final. And if you want to appeal the ruling, you would now have to go to court to get that ruling uh, overturned, right? So it's important, folks, that we understand the role of the Consumer Affairs Commission, and how you can get that information is by inviting us into your organization. So, school, church, community groups, all these are available now. We want to come and share that information with you, with all your groups. Yeah. So some of us have clubs, you know,
Yes.
service clubs, Kiwanis, Rotary, you name it. All of these clubs, we say we'd be more than happy to share this information with you. And guess what? When we would have shared this information with you, you would be much more empowered. You would be feeling like a king every time. You know, them say the customer is king. Well, that's how you will feel when you walk into these places and do
Or a queen.
business. Or queen, of course. Yes, or queen. Yes, that's how you'll feel when you walk into these stores and doing business because you know your rights. You know what to do once your rights are being breached. And you know exactly how to
Oh,
present yourself when these challenges come upon you. And so, folks, we're available. Call us, the Consumer Affairs Commission. Our number is 619 4222 and it goes up to 30. You can visit our website. We talked about our website already,
yes, it's still on screen.
www.cac.gov.jm. Yes, right. Ensure that you email us if you have to. Info at cac.gov.jm. Yes, send us an email request. Make the request known so we can attend your functions. We can come online or offline. It doesn't matter. Wherever you are, we'll be more than happy to come and meet with your groups and to empower you. And by the way, we also empower businesses too because businesses are consumers too, okay? And
Yes.
so we ask that businesses reach out to us, have us share with them. In fact, I'll give you a little secret, but that is just between us, you know. There's an organization that is into retail business, and they have asked me to come and do a presentation to them staff. Yes, and I'm
All right.
doing that on Friday morning. Don't say nothing, I'll never tell you. But businesses are
Yes.
relying on us to help them to, just do the right thing. Do the right thing. And so, as a business, you can reach out to us. Call us, man. And call me. I love when people call me. Now, can I tell you? I love it, man. I love when you call me. I'll be more than happy as one of those persons who lead the team of outreach officers here. I am very happy to take your call and to make sure that, whatever the presentation you need, we can arrange it for you, and online or offline, it really doesn't matter. We are kind of reaching out to even churches, especially now. We recognize that churches are having a challenge engaging their members, and so we say to them, okay, for your Sunday night service that persons might not be attending as much, just allow me to come in as your speaker. I'll be more than happy to address your church group. And guess what? If they know that I'm coming, chances are they'll come out
Yes,
to
show
hear
up.
because the information is very relevant
Yes.
and very timely too, especially around this time. Yeah, very
Yes.
timely. And so we
Indeed.
encourage you, call upon us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. Yes,
Right. Because as is this broadcast is live in the Old Arbor community group on Facebook, and the link has been shared with the justices of the peace, the community leaders, all the
yes,
different groups across Clarendon.
yes,
So, yes, and so we encourage and invite others to share. It will be there on the YouTube page for those who are joining. Some are on Facebook, some on YouTube at the moment, and individuals share the information. And I always say sharing is caring, especially now we want to ensure that we help to empower each other.
absolutely,
Yes. And it's
absolutely.
really awesome. But we can't leave without you sharing the other education channel. You have a radio programs, backyard gardening, and all of those good stuff. Where can
All
we
right.
find you?
So, so,
When?
so the truth is, they, all of us have had to pivot during this pandemic, you know, um, and and with all that is happening, there are opportunities that present themselves, you know. So whereas we might have been spending monies going to do outreach and in various areas, parts of the island and so on, and when we recognize that the pandemic hit and we're not able to do all of what we normally do, and then because things are online, then there's some savings, you see, that comes as a result of that. And so the monies now can be diverted, can be used to do other things, and so that is how opportunities like this comes about, where we are now on radio. We are doing series, you know, on RGR, for example. We are there every Wednesday morning at 9:30 to 10 o'clock every Wednesday morning, right? And I hear someone saying this is going so well, and based on the information shared and how the hosts are so excited because of that, a little birdie tell me, I may not tell you, no, it might be extended. Yeah, it's supposed to end soon, but it might be extended. We are also nationwide. Yes, we are nationwide, man. Is it Thursday? Yes, Dorothy. Every Thursday, every other Thursday. Yes, and guess what? That is also a program that is nice. You know, you learn so much. I think Mr. Darby is the one who hosts at your
At
service.
your
So we are
service.
on every Thursday as well. We do intend to get onto other airwaves. There are some um, radio stations that says, "So what? To we, you're not going to include us in this pie." But yes, uh, we'll be looking at all of these things, and hopefully in a little while I'll tell you about the third one. Yes, but I can't release that yet.
Okay.
But yes, we are online. We're available on the radio. We do a Facebook Live as well, on a every third and
Third
fourth
month. Oh,
Wednesdays.
Wednesday. Okay.
Yes, every third and fourth Wednesdays. On our Facebook page, it's live, and we we are storing some of these on now, looking to get them on our YouTube channel, right? But all every third and fourth Wednesdays, at 10 o'clock, and we try to keep it, within a half hour slot, you know, and we're trying to create them differently. So next week, Wednesday, will be another session, yes, on the 15th, and on that occasion, I will be twinning up, yes, with teaming up with a complaint officer, Peter Young, of the Consumer Affairs Commission. The two of us will be going through some pitfalls, some issues that you go through during the Christmas season, and
All
help
right.
you help to steer the consumer. So we'll be looking at real issues, yes, and discussing them, discuss how the consumer could have protected themselves against those, that kind of thing, and what you can do when you find yourself in those situations, you know. So I'm really very happy for this opportunity to share with your viewers, your listeners, you know, uh,
Yes.
all this information. And trust me, all of it is still not yet told.
I
Not yet
know
told.
it's a whole
Because
lot.
I didn't tell you about your rights. And there were 8 before, there are now 11. All of 11 rights. And I didn't tell you about your responsibilities, which we say are 5 or 6 responsibilities, really. Yeah? So a lot of stuff. But
Which
that's for another
Another time, indeed, indeed. But finally, from me to you, that quarterly session that you have with your sister agencies,
Mhm.
how do we access that?
All right. Well, that in particular, though, um, we have not. It's not yet properly formalized.
Okay.
Yeah, not yet properly formalized. And so, as soon as that would have been done, we'll be more than happy to share that with you. But
Okay.
it's an idea, something that we really want to happen. That we truly get all our different agencies that are doing similar things, as well as organizations that we think we need to focus on different times. We want to do that, have a forum where all of us can come together, have those kinds of meaningful discussions, because we want also to impact policies through these medium, you know. Uh, so in a little while we'll let you know how that is going. Yes.
All right. That sounds really intriguing. So we're looking forward to that because part of the whole objective of the Serenity Resource Connector is to allow the citizens to understand who does what, where they can go to access the services, to kind of make it easier for them to navigate the space with the different agencies, super
Yes.
agencies, executive agencies, and all of those
Yes.
different areas doing seemingly similar things but are have different mandates. So we're looking
Absolutely.
forward, definitely looking forward to that.
Sure.
All
Sure.
right.
Yes.
So we haven't scratched the surface, but it's been a lot that was shared here. And I trust that you'll be able to utilize this information as you go out shopping for your Christmas holidays.
Hmm.
That you would have been informed and in a position to make more informed choices. You know where to go to download the app, Consumer Affairs Commission app, so that you can do your price checking before you leave home, where you can find the
Yes.
lower prices. And I emphasize what Sir Rose said, to develop a relationship in your communities where you shop,
Hmm.
because that makes the process so much easier. And those 3 R's takes place with your service provider, your retailer, before you actually get to the consumer affairs. So give them the opportunity to resolve the situation. If not, that's when you move to the consumer affairs commission.
That's a
All
very
right.
important point there, I tell
Yes.
you, because a
Yes.
lot of times people call us, but we are happy that we have some trained staff here, and then ask the very important question. So, what did what did the merchant do when you returned to them? And if you have nothing to tell us, it's because you never did return to them,
Return.
right?
We
So
want to
it's
find
very
out.
important.
Yeah.
Yes, it's important that we return to them, because it's unfair for them to not be brought into it, and then we are calling them to say what, you know? So that would be unfair. So we say to persons first, go and seek the redress. If you're having a problem, then you come to us. Yeah? Yes.
All right. So, with that said, that's it here on the Serenity Resource Connector. We have been talking about consumer protection inline and online, and we share where you can get additional tools and resources to help you in making those informed choices as you go out and shop. And as we were talking about the holidays, we bring this season of the Serenity Resource Connector to a close next week. So you want to stay tuned to hear information as to how we're gonna bring the curtains down on this first season. So stay tuned. Look out to the different channels to see who will be on, what we'll be talking about. I won't tell you that this week. Stay tuned. All right. So, Ro, thank you again. And great job to you and the team there at the Consumer Affairs Commission. Really impressed with what's happening there. And we look forward to even greater things.
Absolutely.
All
Thank you
right.
very much for the
And
opportunity
my
to share.
pleasure. Yes,
Yes,
I'm looking forward to having you here again in 2022 if we are still here.
absolutely.
All right. Thank you all
Yes.
again for tuning in. I'm Winsome, and as always, please continue to stay safe and don't forget to share. God bless, and see you next time.